Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. So, quite a few vlogs back now at this point, which realistically was probably, I don't know, almost 2 weeks ago. I said I was going to make a vlog listing off everything that we have invested into the Aztek so far, the costs, and where at the moment we are sitting financially. I already made a video like this. I don't think I made one this year, so it was last year, maybe toward the end of last year. I did an Aztek investment update, so that is what this is. At this point, if you haven't been following the last couple of vlogs and whatnot, this thing has been on the road multiple times already. In fact, we are creeping up on the 300-mile mark, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've put maybe 260 some miles on it. So I've been driving it quite often. There are still some hiccups that we have to obviously fix, and we'll get to that later. And there's just a couple of other, just like I said, a couple of minor things that we got to take care of. But for the most part, it's actually been running and driving pretty well. I'm still kind of shocked at how well it is, and I know that this investment list is just going to keep growing. But I just wanted to take the opportunity now to make this video, hopefully before it gets dark, and I want to go over, just real brief with you guys what we have replaced, how much everything costs, and the grand total so far of where we are sitting at. Now, I've been trying to keep a really strict receipt record when it comes to this, and I actually typed up a document on the computer every time that I go to replace a part. I try to remember to type it in along with the cost and matters like that, so that way I always have an itemized list of everything that's been put into the tech. I think the list is about 99% accurate. There may be a couple of little mundane things here and there that I may have forgotten to maybe notate, or maybe they just weren't all that important towards getting the tech back on the road. I don't know. And everything on the list isn't necessarily things that helped it get back on the road, but a couple of other things, like a few accessories that I may have found, and just stuff like that. So anything that I've purchased for the tech to kind of better it, and obviously keep it from the state that it was in when I purchased it originally. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Oh, also, the dollar amounts are rounded, so everything's rounded to the nearest dollar. So if it's like $17.40, it's $17. If it's $17.99, it's obviously $18. So that's kind of what I did with a lot of these prices that you are about to hear. Okay, so at the top of this list is obviously the 2001 Pontiac Aztek GT itself. At the time, it had 170,480 miles. It sat with that odometer reading for, well, just up until a few weeks ago, so it's been a while. Of course, the car itself was $400. You may be wondering why this trim is darker than the rest of it. I'll cover that in the next vlog about the Aztek. It's more of an experiment right now, so we'll see what happens, but it does look pretty good. Well, at least the colored part, the faded part just looks really bad, so, but it's an experiment. I'll cover that in the next video. So anyway, yeah, so the Aztek itself, $400. I did include the trailer rental to bring it home, which was $53. Also, I'm going to list a lot of these off too by the total cost when I bought them. I did a lot of junkyard runs, so a lot of things were bought at the same time, and the values that I'm presenting to you guys are probably all added up within that trip. Now, of course, most of our replacement parts are under here for the most part, but the first thing that I purchased were the Felpro the head gasket kit, as well as the head gasket bolts. Obviously you cannot see any of the gaskets because they are within the engine, but the head gasket kit and the head bolts together, $220. This rear Aztek nameplate, $35. Oil cap, the positive battery post, the screw, which was also replaced again, but I did buy one of those at one time. These front hood shocks. These rear liftgate shocks. And the cover for this power relay center. All of that was $15. My first used battery, not this one, but one used battery that I bought was $35. The 6-disc CD changer, which I only needed an internal part. This unit that you're looking at here is the original one, but I had to swap a part out on the inside that quit working, so I had to buy a whole other 6-disc CD changer, which is sitting in the basement still. That was $50. This remote key fob that I have yet to find out if it works or not, and this better looking Aztek hood insulator, both of those together were $10. The back engine head, which you cannot see because everything's obviously put together and covered up, had to replace it, and that head was $50. The power steering sending line, the power steering return line, the power steering cooler line, the transmission cooler lines, the pressure line, and the return line down below. I ordered all those at the same time originally, and that was a total of $221. Both of the transmission line fittings on the transmission where the lines go in, both of those were replaced, and I believe each one of those was $15. The Aztek's front engine head, which you cannot see completely, but you know, the front engine head had to be replaced. It was $50. The exhaust manifolds, both the front exhaust manifold and the rear exhaust manifold, as well as the EGR tube back here, the oxygen sensor, which is way down there, these spark plug wires, all that was $360. The exhaust crossover pipe, that pipe was $99. This coolant bypass tube, that coolant bypass tube was $34. The thermostat bypass tube, which is back there past the thermostat housing, that was $19. 6 AC Delco 41-940 spark plugs, which are factory spec for the Aztek. Those were $32. 6 stainless steel nuts and 6 stainless steel washers for the exhaust manifold up here. I had to buy these because the kit did not come with these. They were $3. An air filter, which you can't see, $11. 6 brake lines and 2 fittings, that was $51. Then we had to buy another brake line and 2 inverted line unions, that was another $14. 2 exhaust stud kits. The exhaust studs were for the crossover pipe attachment and to attach the very bottom exhaust manifold to the actual exhaust pipe under the car. And the spark plug anti-seize, which I put on all the spark plugs before putting them into the heads. That was a trip for $14. Sorry, $17. $17. At the very bottom of the engine, close to where that white oil filter is, there's a plug that I had to buy because I had to bypass the original oil cooler that was on this engine, and I had to plug up a coolant passage in the engine block. So I had to pull a coolant plug off of another 3400 V6 without an oil cooler, and the junkyard didn't even charge me for it. So the oil block coolant passage plug is in there at no cost. That on the same topic, I had to buy an oil filter adapter to get that oil filter on there and all other oil filters. It was 25 cents. 2 front Aztek floor mats, which need cleaned again. Those were $3. A new glove box handle, $5. 5 quarts of engine oil, 5W30 conventional, 1 gallon of antifreeze or coolant, and a 16-ounce bottle of seafoam, $61. This crankcase breather tube right here, this belt pulley right here, this belt, the serpentine belt that's on here, the belt tensioner back there, this upper radiator hose, and a 3400 V6 engine cover, which I don't have on here right now. That was a total of $38. The lower belt pulley, which is kind of hidden, but there's a lower pulley. Oh, it's down here. So we replaced the lower pulley. We bought another used battery, again, not this one. And this PCV to EVAP vacuum line here. We replaced that, and that was, again, $38. The heater core quick disconnect, as well as that hose clamp that is on that quick disconnect for that heater hose there, that was $16. The fuel filter was $15, and a quick disconnect for the fuel sending line, as well as a pack of steel stick to patch up a small leak from the return line. The fuel filter, again, $15, and the other 2 items added up to $18. A crankshaft pulley seal, which I have yet to install, but I do have it. This was $6. The camshaft position sensor, which is hidden underneath the power steering pump, but we put a new camshaft position sensor in there. That was $35. A new PCV valve, that was $3. 3 used ignition coil packs, as well as the ignition module that they sit on. All of that was replaced for $50. Another 5 quarts of engine oil and an AC Delco oil filter. This would be for like our, second oil change. $17. This power steering return line, this cooler line, again, we replaced it with the official AC Delco one. This was $28, this line right here. Then, you can't see it, but we had to replace the power steering sender line again, this time with a new AC Delco power steering line. It was $33. A new master window switch, that was $26. A new transmission filter, which is obviously behind that pan, was $17, and 2 gallons of transmission fluid was $18. A brand new radiator, which is hiding behind the cooling fan assembly. A brand new AC Delco radiator was $118. The 2 special screws and 2 special nuts that hold the radiator, air conditioner condenser, and the fan assembly all together, I had to replace those. I had to order 2 of them, and the 2 screws and 2 nuts cost a total of $20. 2 gently used front tires, and this tray, this CD tray that goes inside the cooler, that was a total of $83 together. The bottom cover to this power relay center, I had to replace it because there was a broken bracket on the side. So we had to find one of those, and there's a bracket toward the bottom of the engine that holds the 2 power steering lines together next to the engine. I had to replace that also, and that trip cost me $9. 2 brand new Monroe OE Spectrum front struts. Both of them together were $246. This gently used outer tie rod on the driver's side, that was $6. 2 brand new Monroe OE Spectrum rear shocks, those were $80 together. The current 5 quarts of conventional 5W30 engine oil, a CarCrest oil filter, and an oil pressure switch, which I have yet to install. All of this together was $42. 2 more quarts of transmission fluid to put into the transmission, $7. This rear license plate light assembly and this car cover, or cargo cover, those were $5. And last but not least, this Aztek cargo tray, which I stumbled across a while ago. Well, I finally bought that. It was $25. So that's it. I'm pretty sure that that is everything that I have had to replace on the Aztek so far. One other thing that I did have to replace was the wiring harness that controls the window switches, the power and the ground wire. They have their own little harness back here. If you watch the video where I had a problem with the windows not working, turned out that connector was completely corroded. So I tried to clean it up, but it did not work as well as I was hoping. So the windows quit working again shortly after, and I had to go and cut one off of another Aztek. So that's actually tucked into the dashboard back here. Again, I had to electrical tape the heck out of them, but it seems to be working so far. And I do not remember how much that connector cost. I don't know where the receipt is. That's the only thing that I can think of at this time that I had to replace. I think everything else I've pretty much covered in the video. So where does our grand total so far on a $400 Aztek sit? Well, I'm going to tell you guys after I go get some dinner. I got my Simple Greek. I love the Simple Greek. If you are from the Youngstown area, there might be some elsewhere too, but I like to go to the Simple Greek a lot. It's good stuff. As I was driving here, I did remember that there were a couple of other things that I just thought of that I did forget to make note of in my notes, and it's nothing really major. So if it doesn't really add into it, then I guess it's not that big a deal. The first thing is I had to buy 2 new battery posts, the screws, so those were only a couple of dollars. I had to replace a section of the exhaust pipe with a small piece of straight pipe and 2 exhaust clamps. And I thought that there was something else that I thought of, and now I don't remember exactly what it was. But I know I forgot to notate those, but again, that's really not a huge expense toward the tech. So like I said, my list is 99% accurate. It's not 100%. And the list is going to grow because obviously we have the brake warning on. I'm assuming is one of my bad sensors in the back of the tech, bad wheel sensors. And obviously 4th gear. We don't have 4th gear. So the rest of the transmission seems to be acting okay. Added some more fluid to it, as I mentioned, and it doesn't seem to be smelling as hot as it was. So yeah. And of course we need our brakes and a couple of other things here and there, I'm sure, a fan blower resistor. But for now, let's get home. I'm going to eat, and then I'll add everything up and give you guys what my grand total is. I honestly don't even know how much I'm in at this point with it. So let's get home. Alright, so I just finished eating. I've got about 4 minutes left of camera memory, and I don't really feel like going through and deleting a bunch of clips just for the end of this video. So as of right now, we are sitting at a grand total, and this is including the cost of the Aztek itself, the $400. So all of this and everything else that I've mentioned in this video with the exception of the things that I forgot to mention that doesn't have a price, but just a couple dollars here or there. Right now, all my listed inquiries have a grand total of $2,877. That is how much we have invested in the Aztek from day one. Honestly, I thought for sure at this point I was going to be over $3 grand. That's really not too bad on a $400 car. I mean, as I stated in the one previous vlog, had I spent like $3 grand buying the Aztek and then have to dump this much into it, that might be a little off. But the car was extremely cheap, so we're kind of sitting. I still feel like we're kind of sitting pretty with it right now. If you were to find an Aztek as old as mine, and with all of these issues already corrected, you may end up finding one for about $3 grand, and you won't have to dump anything into it, hopefully for quite a while. But in this case, I bought the car on the cheap side, and we're just kind of adding in the value with all the parts that we've been replacing. And this list is going to grow. It's going to grow, soon when I get all these other little tidbits here and there in the near future. I know we're coming up on fall and in the winter, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be able to do. Obviously, I don't have a garage. If I'm able to get the fourth gear, the clutch hub or shaft or whatever it is, if I'm able to do that by winter, and then if we need anything else, I can drive the vehicle to a place where I can work on it with shelter, because that place requires highway driving, and the tech isn't going on the highway because it's limited to third gear at this time. Other than that, everything else is still good. I haven't had any misfire issues ever since that one time since it's been on the road. Very strange. It's been running really well, and so I don't know, but it's still doing really good, and that's all I've got. The next vlog is going to be fun, I think, so stay tuned to that one. I'm going to film it in 2 days when the weather's nice. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you were interested, and if you were curious this entire time to see everything that we've replaced on the tech, there you go. Give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Also check out teespring.com/store/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. And that's it. My camera's just about to time out, so I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.